To go through the mindfulness, we had discussed in a very brief manner that what is the mindfulness. In our last class, we had discussed in a very detailed manner. We had discussed about the definition of mindfulness, smriti, and what are the 4 types of mindfulness. We had discussed in our last class. Today we are going to discuss in a detailed manner the 4 types of mindfulness, as well as the importance of mindfulness. In our last class, we had discussed that how the mindfulness has given much significance in our Pali literature also. And we had seen that in Digh Nikaya also and in Majjhima Nikaya, we are having 2 suttas, namely satipaṭṭhāna sutta in Digh Nikaya and satipaṭṭhāna sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. So there are 2 suttas which are discussing about the mindfulness or smriti or sati in Pali. We had also discussed that how mindfulness has come in 5 times out of the 7 stages of Bodhipakkhiya Dhamma, 37 factors of enlightenment. So we had also seen that how mindfulness has come 5 times in 37 factors of enlightenment. So let us see, we have already seen that what is the mindfulness. Mindfulness is just like a doorkeeper. As a doorkeeper does not allow any undesirable person to enter into the house, in the same way, mindfulness also does not allow any undesirable immoral factors to come out on the surface of the mind. So it is another name of awareness. Awareness means it is another name of alertness. That is why it is called as anusaranam ti sati, that remembering again and again. And in Milinda Pahiyo also, Acharya Nagasen has defined apilapana lakhana sati, upgahan lakhana satiti. Apilapan lakhana sati means mindfulness has the characteristics to remind again and again. And Acharya Nagasen has given a simile that how a Raja is being, a king is being reminded by the ministers that what are your wealth, what are your 4 types of armies, how many wealth you have. So he is being reminded of the wealth of the king, estate to the king. In the same way, the mindfulness also reminds that what are the moral factors and how a person or yogāvacara has to make an effort to arise the moral factors also. Upagahan lakhana, it is another mindfulness also in the sense that it is in the sense of keeping up. Upagahana. Gahana means to take, upagahana means keeping up. That mindfulness has the characteristics of keeping off all these moral factors also. Just like the wealth are being preserved and protected by a king, by the armies of the royal king, in the same way, mindfulness also gives the protections for the moral dhammas or kusal dhammas. Also, in 40 factors of meditation, if you go through the 40 factors of meditation, 44 samatha, which have been elaborately discussed in Visuddhimagga, the 3rd chapter of Visuddhimagga, Kamatthāna Gahan Niddesa. So, Acharya Buddha Ghosh prescribes 40 subjects of meditations. There are 10 Asubha, 10 Kasin, 10 Anusati, 4 Brahma Vihar, 1 Chatudhatu Bhavatthānam, and ahare patukula sanya. All these are the 40 factors or 40 subjects of meditations through which a yogāvacara has to go through those subjects of meditations. Out of the 40 subjects of meditations, we are also having 10 types of anusati. In Sanskrit, it is called as anusmriti. What are the 10 anusmriti, or in Pali, it is called as anusati. Anusati is also made up of two words, anu and sati. Anu means that which follows and again. Sati means mindfulness. So there are 6 types of anusmriti in our Mahayana text, but in Pali text we are having 10 types of anusati. In Sanskrit it is called as anusmriti. So Acharya Buddha Ghosh has given that there are 6 types of, there are 10 types of recollections, namely Buddhanusmriti, Dhammānupasanā, Sanghanupasanā, Chāganusmriti, Devtānusmriti, Samanusmriti, Silanusmriti. So there are 10 types of smriti. In Mahayana text, there are only 6 types of anusmriti or recollections. In Bodhicharjavatar or in Suhar Lake of Acharya Nagarjuna, there are 6 kinds of anusmriti which have been prescribed for a laity or for a householder also. They are Buddhanusmriti, Dhammānupasanā, Sanghanupasanā, Devtānupasanā, Chāganusmriti, Silanusmriti. So these are the main 6 kinds of recollections. What is the importance of recollections here? Recollections like suppose here Buddhanusmriti is nothing but it is recollecting the qualities of the Buddha. There are 9 types of attributes of the Buddha. If you go through the chanting of the Buddha in any auspicious occasion, then Itipiso Bhagvar Ha Samba Sambuddho Vidyacharan Sampanno Sugato Lok Buddhi Purusa Dhamma Sarati Itipiso Bhagava. So there are 9 types of attributes. Because of 9 types of attributes, the qualities or the attributes of the Buddha are being remembered. And if a person who remembers the qualities or attributes of the Buddha, he is also meditating and he is following the 10 types of subjects of meditations. It is also a kind of, you can say, samatha and vipassanā. So Acharya Buddha Ghosh in Kamatthāna Gahan Nidesa, he has prescribed that if a yogāvacara wishes to purify his consciousness, he must follow the 40 subjects of meditations. Out of 40 subjects of meditations, this anusmriti is very important. And that is why the recollection of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and the sacrifice or the seal, these are important in the sense of purification of consciousness, chitta visuddhi. In our last class, we had discussed that what is the purification of consciousness, why the consciousness has given much significance in our Pali literature, why Chit is called as which Pakati Pavasaram Itam Chittam, that it is immense pure by the nature, it is luminous by nature also, and it is being defiled by incoming inward defiling factors. So this is called as, you can say, Chit Visuddhi, and for Chit Visuddhi, Acharya Buddha Ghosh has given the 3-step path that is called as Tisso Sikha or Trisiksha, namely Sil, Samadhi, and Panya. So we had discussed in our last class. In this class, we are going to discuss that how this Buddha says in Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta that mindfulness is the only path. ekayano evam maggo sattanam visuddhiya. So this is the only path, ekayano evam maggo. Mag is here in the sense of the path. Maggoti adhikam upayo. So path is in the sense of means of getting a state of eternal bliss. So through the path, this you can say path of mindfulness, a person can get a state of eternal bliss. And this sati is important in the practicing the vipassana. We have also defined that what is the vipassana. Vipassana is visualizing the nature of the reality, that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. So this is the main aim of our mindfulness. So we had also discussed that there are four types of uh, mindfulness, namely kāyanupassanā, vedanānupassanā, cittānupassanā, and dhammānupasanā. First of all, that is called as kāyanupassanā, being aware related with all 32 parts of our body. This is called as kāyanupassanā. It is made up of three words, kāy, anu, and passana. Anu is in the sense of again and again. Passana means visualizing or being aware of the parts of the kai, that is the body. So there are 32 parts. So being aware of all activities related with our body, this is called as kāyanupassanā. And we know that all our activities, all our parts have their own functions also. Eye has the function of seeing the visual things. In the same way, ear has the capacity to hear the audible objects. So being aware of all our, you can say, parts of our body, this is called, what is the being aware of our activities related with the hand, leg, mouth, and other things. So this is called as kāyanupassanā. Vedanānupassanā is second kind of our type of, four types of mindfulness. So Vedana is that or feeling is that which is being experienced by touching. Sa vedeti iti vedana. Vedana is that which is being experienced by touching of any objects. There are six senses and there are six objects also. And whenever the senses have the contact with the respective objects, then there is the arising of the feeling or vedana. That is why it is called as sa vedeti iti vedana. And it is also called as fasso pachaya vedana. That vedana is being arised on the dependent on the contacts, namely chakshu sampasa, sota sampasa, ghan sampasa, jihva sampasa, kaya sampasa, and mano sampasa. So there are six types of contacts also. And we had discussed in a very brief manner in our previous class that Vedana is initially three types: Sukha Vedana, Dukha Vedana, and Upekha Vedana. Sukha Vedana is also of two types: Somanas Vedana, Sukha Vedana. Dukha Vedana is also two types: Somanas Vedana, Dukha Vedana, and Upekha Vedana. Somanas Vedana is that type of pleasant feeling which is being experienced by our body as well as mind, where there is the involvement of the body and mind. This and the feeling is called as Somanas Vedana, where there is the feeling, pleasant feeling, which is only related with our body. This is called as Sukha Vedana. In the same manner, Domanas Vedana is that type of unpleasant feeling or suffering which is being experienced by our body as well as mind. And Dukha Vedana is only physical. And lastly, upekha, that is the indifferent feeling, which does not have any pleasant or unpleasant feeling. That is called as mudhajanesu upekha, and that is only mental, not physical. So these are five types of Vedana, and being aware of all these five types of feelings, this is called as vedanānupassanā. And we also know that Vedana Pachaya Tanha, that based upon the feeling, there is the arising of the desire also. That is why Buddha says that you have to be very much aware of the Vedana, because on the basis of Vedana Pachaya Tanha, so dependent on the feeling, there is the arising of our desires. Whenever there is a contact of any sense with the object, respective object, there is a attachment towards that object also. If you see, we see the beautiful objects, eye has the attachments towards the beautiful objects. Then if there is the attachment, then there is the arising of the desire also. And if there is the desire, then there is the outcome of the suffering. And this suffering is the main problem of our all, you can say, chit, consciousness, which is blackened by the klesas. So that is why it is called as you have to be very much aware of your feelings, that what are the bad feelings, what are the pleasant feelings, what are the mental feelings. So if we are aware of those feelings, we cannot have any desire. That is why in the second noble truth it is called as yayam tanha panobhavika nandi rag sahagata tatra tatra abhinandani setidam kamatanha bhavatanha and vibhavatana. There are three types of desires, kam, bhav and vibhav, which are arising again and again. Nandi Raga Sahagata, associated with the lust and the attachment. So these are arising dependent on the feelings. So that is why it is called as vedanānupassanā, being aware of all five types of feelings. Third is called as cittānupassanā. Chitta, we know that alamban chinteti ti chittam. Consciousness is that which thinks of an object, and it is in the sense of knowing of that object also. So we know there are 89 types of consciousness. In another way, there are 121 types of consciousness, which have been divided into four bhumis on the basis of the bhumis: Kamavachar Bhumi, Rupavachar Bhumi, Arupavachar Bhumi, and Lokuttar Bhumi. And in another way of classification of consciousness, there is the Kusal, Akusal, Vipak, and Kriya. There are four types of on the basis of class or jati. So all being aware of 89 or 121 types of consciousness, whether they are moral, immoral, inoperative, kriya, and vipak, resultant consciousness. So being aware of all these 89 or 121 types of consciousness is called as cittānupassanā. Last is called as dhammānupasanā. Dhammānupasanā is being aware of Dhamma. Here Dhamma is in the sense of teachings of the Buddha. Especially here it is in the sense of Panch Nivarnas, Panch Jhanangas, Four Noble Truth, Eightfold Path, Law of Dependent Originations. So this is called as Dhamma. Here Dhamma is in the sense of the philosophical teachings of the Buddha. So we know that there are five types of hindrances, namely Nivarnas, Kamachand, Vyapad, Thinimidh, Udhach, Kukuch, and Vichikiccha. And there are 5 types of antidotes of nivarnas, namely jhanangas, vitakka, vichar, piti, sukh, and ekaggata. So there are 5 types of jhanangas. So eightfold path we know from the samadhi to samadhi and four noble truth and law of dependent originations, the dvadas nidan, 12 links of the law of dependent originations. So being aware of all these teachings, philosophical teachings of the Buddha, this is called as dhammānupasanā. So I have already sent you the reading material today. You might have received it. So if you go through the reading material, then you will find that I have discussed in very brief manner that what is the role or significance of mindfulness in vipassana, that is the call as insight. So how the mindfulness has been given much importance for practicing vipassana. So first of all, we have discussed the 4 types of uh, our mindfulness, namely kāyanupassanā, vedanānupassanā, cittānupassanā, and dhammānupasanā. So here kāyanupassanā and vedanānupassanā are the path for the persons with dominance of attachment. Here kāyanupassanā and vedanānupassanā, they are having the temperament of the tanha, that is the desires. What we have discussed with kamatanha, bhavatanha, and vibhavatanha. So this is called as tanha charita, and they are engaged in getting purification through the samatha. And samatha is the name of the rupa jhan and arupa jhan. What is rupa jhan? If you remember that vitak vichar piti sukha ekta sahitam patham jhanam, vichar piti sukha ekta sahitam dutiya jhanam, piti sukha ekta sahitam tatiya jhanam, sukha ekta sahitam chatutta jhanam, and upekha ekaggata sahitam pajam jhanam. So these are the 5 types of samatha, and arupa jhan is the name of akasa enchaitan, biyana enchaitan, akinchaitan, Nev Sanya Na Sanya Aitana. So this is the name of the kāyanupassanā and vedanānupassanā. So here samatha, but there are also, you can, the person exerting sluggishly in his process. That is that they are very much, you can say, not diligent, and they take kāyanupassanā as his path that which exert sharply chooses vedanānupasanā. So here a person who is not diligent in his work, that is the apramadi, he has to take a vedanānupasanā. So here consciousness of the former is gross in comparison to latter. And again, the third and fourth, that is the cittānupassanā and dhammānupasanā, are the path of the persons who are desirous of getting purification through vipassana. So samatha and vipassana, samatha is the name of rupajan and arupajan, and vipassana is having the 7 stages of purifications which have been discussed in the Rath Vinit Sutta of Majjhima Nikaya, as well as in the Visuddhi Magga, 23 chapters from the chapter 14th to 23rd. There are 10 chapters which are discussing under the section of the Panya, and they are discussing about that how through the 7 stages of purifications, namely Sil Visuddhi, Chit Visuddhi, Ditti Visuddhi, Kankha Vitarana Visuddhi, Mag Amag Yan Visuddhi, Patipada Yan Darshan Visuddhi, and Yan Darshan Visuddhi. So there are 7 stages of purifications. So this is the name of the vipassana, which have been discussed in the Rathviniti Sutta as well as in the Visuddhi Magga. So they are the persons of the temperament dominant by the false views, that is called as Ditti Charita. We have seen that the Tanha Charita is the name of the persons who have the temperament of the desire, that is the Kamatana, Bhautana, and Vibhautana. And here, Cittānupassanā and dhammānupasanā, these are for the persons of the who are having the temperament like Ditti Charita. What is Ditti? Ditti is the false views. In Brahmajala Sutta, we are having 62 types of Michha Ditti, as well as in Abhyakat Pahiyon. There are 10 types of Abhyakat Pahiyon, that Antava Lokoti va, Anantava Lokoti va, Hoti Tathagato Param Varnati va, Hoti Tathagato na Param Varnati va, Hoti nocha Hoti Tathagato Param Varnati va, Tam Jivam Tam Sariram, Ayam Jivam Ayam Sariram. So like there are 10 types of unanswered questions by the Buddha. They are also called as false views. So persons who are involved with the false views, that is the Michhaditti, they are having the temperament of the false views. They are being removed by the cittānupassanā and dhammānupasanā. So Acharya Buddha Ghosh in the commentary says about that. We are not going to discuss like that. And the importance of this satipaṭṭhāna sutta can be seen in Mahayana Sanskrit texts like Bodhicharya Avatar of Santidev, where the 4 types of mindfulness have been also discussed, like Kaya Smriti Upasthāna, Vedana Smriti Upasthāna, Chitta Smriti Upasthāna, and Dharma Smriti Upasthāna. So these have been discussed in a very detailed manner in our text also. So we are not going to, we are concentrating ourselves in our text. And in last class, we had discussed that there are 4 types of tools which have been discussed related with the mindfulness, namely sampajanya, sati, panya, and samadhi. These are the 4 types of tools for yogāvacara, for practicing meditations, or for practicing purification of the consciousness. So here, what is the sampajanya? That sampajanya is made up of 2 words, sampajanya, that it is the combination of 3 syllables, sam plus pa plus jaya. Here, sam is in the sense of completely or rightly by oneself. Pa means especially, and jaya means render as knowing. Ya dhatu is in the sense of to know the things. So here Buddha also says that sampajayam tipaya, that sampajaya is the right understanding or the wisdom from the viewpoint of terminology. So the word sampajaya is defined by the commentators and the sub-commentators in our Pali text, that it is said that one who knows impermanence in the right way, that all things are subject to impermanence in a right manner, has wisdom sampajaya. In Samyukta Nikaya, the Buddha has given 2 explanations of the term sampajaya. That he defines sampajaya as follows, that as how meditators, does a meditator stand thoroughly? There are 3-4 questions. Here in meditators, a meditators knows sensation arising in him, knows their persisting, and knows their vanishing. So in here, tanha pachaya upadanam, ya vedana pachaya tanha pachaya upadanam. So a yogāvacara tries to know through the process of sampajaya that everything is arising, everything is perishing or vanishing. So he knows the perceptions arising in him, knows their persisting, and knows their vanishing. He knows each initial application of the mind on the object arising in him. Known is persisting and known is vanishing. So this meditator is how a meditator understands orally. So this sampajanya has been defined in our Pali text. So this also shows the sampajanya, which is closely related with the term sati or smriti or mindfulness. So these words, one can understand that mere sati, mindfulness, without sampajanya will not be of any use or will not serve any purpose. So, but sampajanya is essential for all the yogāvacars. So sampajanya must be with the sati. So here there is importance of mindfulness also, that if sampajanya, that is the right understanding, or the panya has so many equivalent terms in our Pali text. In Dhammāsangani, panya has been defined in the name of samadhi, panya, jaya, panya bala, panya virya, panya sattha. So there are so many terms which have been given in Dhammāsangani. So sampajanya is also equivalent terms of that is the panya. So the sati, without this mindfulness, there cannot be arising of sampajanya. So sati without sampajanya is just like a flower without having any color. Hence, in each and every foundation of mindfulness, the Buddha tells that sampajanya goes along with the sati to make the sati meaningful and fruitful. So sampajanya plays a very vital role in vipassana system of meditation and guides mindfulness or sati in the right way to go to get to have the good result, that is to reach samadhi and panya. So this is sati, sampajanya, samadhi and the panya. These four terms are quite related with each other. So this is the, you can say, main theme of our mindfulness. So this mindfulness or awareness have there are so many terms for the mindfulness. Some of the scholars name it as a recollections or awareness or mindfulness. But in a very essence way, awareness means living life with alertness for from moment to moment about ourselves and our surroundings in the nature and the environment. What are the things which are happening in our nature as well as in our environment associated with us, or the things which are surrounded with us. So this is the our being aware of all these things. So this awareness must be cultivated with effort and then practice till it has a good result. So we have to develop awareness about ourselves, and we have to expand the mindfulness surrounding with our people, nature, and the environment. So mindfulness allows us to be very much careful of our surroundings, natures, and environment, which are facilitating us to connect, empathize, to be very much receptive to other persons who are in a state of distress. So now there is a need of sustained awareness. Nowadays, that you have to be very much in continuity to practice the mindfulness. So this is the main, you can say, topic of our mindfulness. So let us stop here.